Hello, beautiful souls. I've got a really beautiful metaphor that my guides had shared with me in talking about the things that happen in our life experience and basically how to mitigate them, how to navigate them, how to approach them, and the realization that we are in the driver's seat. We are in control. We are in our free will choice. And I'd love to share it with you because often I hear people I speak with, well, this is happening, and it's just like so much, and it's all coming at me at the same time, and I don't know what to do, and it just won't stop. And my guides use this metaphor that there are energies, ideas, opportunities that present themselves continuously to us by what they call a knocking on the door. So it's things that are popping up into our existence, into our consciousness, and that most of all, that these are normal and necessary for our human experience. What my guides shared is that imagine these energies. So whether they be beings or opportunities, invitations, things we can do, things we can take action on, maybe even things we didn't even know existed, they're knocking at the door. And my guides reminded me that we cannot control, should not control the knocking at the door, which I don't know about you, but I can definitely relate to. And that oftentimes when, things are the craziest, that suddenly there's a lot of knocking at the door. I've got different people, different opportunities, or different things that are happening. I mean, it's just like there's constant knocking. And I imagine this could even be things like the news or our neighborhood or, obviously our relationships, could even be with ourselves. There's just things, the holidays, like there's just all these things knocking at our door, asking, inviting us for our attention. And my guides said it so beautifully. They said, without those knocks at the door, there is no variety. There is no change. There is no expression of polarity. Now, for me, I was like, holy cow. Somehow this visual that was provided suddenly made so many things make sense. Because I think for me, and I think a lot of us, when we hear the knock at the door, we think we have to go answer it, right? It's like, oh, here's another knock at the door. Oh, another person, another person, another person. It's like, oh my gosh, stop knocking at the door, right? All I want to do is sit down on the sofa and I just keep getting up because here's another person, here's another thing, here's another opportunity. But our power does not lie in answering the door every single time. Sometimes we may be in a place or a position that we don't want to answer the door. Or maybe we don't feel compelled to answer the door. Maybe we have a drive where we do want to answer the door, and we do so. Or maybe there's fear. Who is on the other side of the door? You are in control of opening that door. That is your door. Literally, that is your door. No one, no thing, no energy can knock down that door. And I think this is where we living in the 3D, understanding this world, someone could knock down your door. Maybe they'd have to drive their truck through your door or, I don't know, come at it with an axe or something, right? Something can take the door down. But energetically, it is all based on permission. So nothing can take your door down unless you allow it, you permit it, you ask for it. And I think this, for me, was my biggest breakthrough, but I think this is where all of us as humans can relate in a sense of we try to relate to the spiritual things in the same way that we relate to the physical things. And my friends, this is where it differs. This is where the fork in the road begins. On the spiritual side, our door is an invitation. It is presenting a choice. It is not a demand. And it's not an intrusion. Because here's the thing. We can choose to open it, feel compelled to open it, or not. The energy, the opportunity, it might come back. It might not. Depending on what things or where things are going, it might or might not. But that's okay. Because it's your choice. Where in the physical world, nobody should be breaking down your door. Nobody should be standing outside your door 24/7, knocking, knocking, knocking. but there's a little bit more variety. There's a little bit more, I don't know, things that go into that, where spiritually that is not the case. Either you give it permission or you don't. Either you open the door or you don't. Either you want to invite things in, want to create some variety, need to stir things up, need to create a vacuum, or you don't. And depending on what you are calling into your existence, calling into your consciousness to experience, you either answer the door or you do not. And what my guides also affectionately shared is that across your life experience, you may get thousands upon thousands, if not millions, if not billions of choices, of knocks, but you are in control of that door opening or staying shut. I think the discernment over, we've got the knocking, right? Do we open it? What do we do? What does this mean? It really comes down to most immediately, curiosity, not commitment. So just because you open the spiritual door to something does not mean you have to choose it. Does not mean the thing behind it is what you desire to experience right now. Coming to it or approaching it from a place of curiosity allows you to investigate it, to feel it out, to seek it, seek what it's doing, what it might be there for, and then you are able to make the choice. There's no pressure. My guides actually described it as that we can see who is knocking. We can open the door and just see them. Doesn't mean they can come into our house either. Again, everything is based on permission, so you would have to invite them in. So you can open the door and see who they are and ask questions. You can see who's knocking and decide whether you want to commit to it, you want to invite it in, you want to experience it. And in approaching it with curiosity, with discovery, with understanding, you're able to make the best decision. You're able to connect the energies with your heart and see what vibrates and resonates more. You're able to make the decision. There is no pressure. Either you seize it or you don't. You choose it or you don't. And I don't know about you, but this is what often makes me feel that life can be overwhelming. Because sometimes there's lots of knocks at the door. And then sometimes there's no knocks at the door. Or there's a long pause. And you're like, hello, is anyone there? What's happening? But the beautiful thing is that if we release the need to feel we have to control who's knocking at the door, and instead shift the perspective, see things from a higher perspective, that this is an opportunity that if you are wanting to consider something, you can open the door and see who it is. And if you don't, then you don't have to. If they come back, then great. And if they don't, then great. And my guides went on to say that this is also from that state of overwhelm, is when humans invite everything in. How many times have it, FOMO, anyone? Right? There's knocking and you're like, I don't know if I want that. Well, maybe I do. Sure. Okay. The news. Yeah. I'll start watching that every day. Okay. And then I'm going to watch YouTube videos on top of it. And then I'm going to choose to make things from scratch in the kitchen. And then I'm going to invite everybody over and I'm going to have a party. And suddenly you continue to say yes. And you're inviting all these things in. And that becomes overwhelming because there's so many things. So it's also not from a position of lack. Because remember, we're talking about spiritual flow. It's about things coming to you at the beautiful time because you're inviting it in and you're ready for it. And if it doesn't feel ready, then maybe it's not the right time. And I'm using time loosely, right? The right moment, the right alignment for things to come into alignment. And my guides shared this, that this is because a being is not choosing or inviting the things into their world that empower them or help them or shed light or empowering growth. It instead is often a distraction. My goodness, how true this is. This one hit home. Yep, sometimes when I choose things, it's because I want to be distracted or I want to try something different or I'm getting exasperated because of something that's happening. And so it's like, yep, okay, here, yeah, I'll scroll on social media, I'll do this, right? All this knocking. And then the distraction doesn't necessarily help resolve the original thing that I was seeking. Escaping is not resolving. Escaping is not enjoying either. So then when we are just saying yes, 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 and we're not using discernment for what might be best for us to invite in, this is when it feels invasive. It feels overwhelming. It feels like there's too much. And now I can't even get out of it because there's just so much and there's things and everything's distracting. And now I have a headache and now I don't feel good, right? So it's just like, but these are all energetic things that we're inviting into our experience. And the reason why we're experiencing body symptoms is because we're inviting in all this energy and it might not be the right alignment. And as they said, you are opening the door without discernment, without the selection, without the choice, but that is it. And what they meant by that is it is nothing more than that. Because if we take it on to be more than this, oh my gosh, this means this and this means that, and that is our ego kicking into high gear, trying to say things and do things and make things and label things. And we are jumping on the lawnmower and it's just going. Instead, we just simply maybe overly committed. We invited too many things at once. We didn't allow for contemplation or discernment for alignment. Instead, opening the floodgates, of course, it's going to feel overwhelming. There's too much. There's too many extras. But that is it. There's just too many extras. So what do we need to do? Have discernment, decide what we've got on our plate, what we'd like to invite to depart from our existence. And that is it. It is as simple as a choice. So what I would like to invite you to contemplate is thinking about the knocks on the door. You are in a place of sovereign power, sovereign choice. You are in the driver's seat. Always. I personally prefer the seat of the observer, a little less face first, a little more in my me. But regardless of where you're sitting, you are in control. You are in and can have 100% discernment and choice. If you are feeling any sense of overwhelm by too many options, too many extras, too many things, it just is an indicator that there may be just too many things and there needs to be a little bit more discernment and choice. But that is it. It is just a simple choice. Turn the faucet down a little bit. Maybe not answer the door as much. Allowing those things. And maybe even when you're hearing the knock, instead of going right to a place of action, maybe it's to a place of heart. It's to a place of connection. Hey guides, I feel like this is knocking at my door. What do y'all think? Is this something I should answer? Is this something that is aligning to my highest good? They might have a perspective that can help you start to discern. And that, my friends, that is what my daily tarot practice, reading, communion that I participate in with my guides, that is actually what it is. Because I will tell you, I ask questions every single day. And I keep thinking that the next day I'm not going to have any questions. And I come up with more questions. So there's more and more knocks at the door. There's more and more ways I can choose, more opportunities, more things that happen. And having that level of advisement, seeing my highest good, seeing the full picture, which my human will never be able to see the full picture of. I must rely on those guides that I enlisted for their help, that I asked for their help and support to help me clear the path that I cannot even see. And this is where faith and belief come in. But allow this to be an invitation for you to own your door. Develop your own mastery of an art of opening your own door. What things would you like to invite in? What things are you seeking most? And allowing that connection to your guides to allow for their discernment too. Because imagine, with their visibility, their 100,000 foot, million foot level of perspective, and your connection and relentless connection and reconnection back to who you are, to your higher self, you will end up seeing that door as an opportunity and a gateway for more evolution, more change, more expansion, instead of an obligatory, I got to get up, I got to answer the door, the door's ringing now. Okay, here we go. Who's it at this time? And by making that simple shift, you invite in the opportunities that expand you. So profoundly beautiful. I am sending you so much love and light. And may only the knocking on the door that you feel so compelled to answer, may it be for your highest good.